The signal in the void. The starship Ardent Dawn drifted through the silent darkness between trade routes. Its crew, mostly merchants and hired guards, had been expecting nothing more than a long and boring journey. The stars were cold, the hull creaked, and even the hum of the engines felt like a lullaby to those who had already spent months away from their homeworlds. Then the distress call arrived. At first, it was just static. A broken, flickering signal bleeding into their comm system. The navigator frowned, adjusted the dials, and suddenly the words became clear. "This is a Terran vessel. Under attack. Please, any ship, respond. We are dying out here." The crew froze. The word Terran hung in the air like a curse. Everyone in the galaxy knew of the humans, though most had never seen one. Whispers told of their savagery, their reckless courage, and their strange ability to survive things no other species could. But most importantly, everyone knew this. Humanity had been quiet for years, retreating into their own sphere of space, rarely answering calls beyond their borders. Yet here, in the emptiness of the outer rim, a human ship was begging for help. The captain of the Ardent Dawn paced slowly, his claws tapping against the metal deck. His crew exchanged uneasy glances. To answer the call meant risk. To ignore it meant guilt, and perhaps anger from the humans, should they learn of it. Finally, with a low growl, the captain made his decision. "Send acknowledgement. Lock onto the beacon. If there are humans in danger, we cannot leave them." The ship changed course. The debris field. Hours later, the Ardent Dawn dropped out of faster-than-light travel. What awaited them was not a ship in distress. It was a graveyard. Shattered hulls drifted in silence, their metal twisted and scorched. No human vessel was intact. The faint signal still pulsed from one broken piece of wreckage, its transmission looping endlessly. The voice repeated again and again, "This is a Terran vessel. Under attack." But there were no survivors, no heat signatures, no life signs at all. The crew whispered among themselves. The signal was not real. It was bait, a false SOS. Someone had wanted to lure ships here. "Scanners," the captain barked. "Show me everything." The readouts lit up. Hidden among the wreckage, cloaked by drifting metal, were other ships, predators waiting in silence. Raiders, pirates, maybe worse. Their weapons were already turning toward the Ardent Dawn. The captain cursed. He had led his people into a trap. The trap springs. The first shot struck before the shields could fully rise. The hull shook, alarms blared, and crew members scrambled to stations. Plasma fire raked across their side, peeling armor plates open like paper. "We can't fight them," one of the guards shouted. "Their numbers, there are too many." But retreat was impossible. The raiders had encircled them, tightening the noose. The Ardent Dawn fired back, its guns blazing into the darkness. Explosions lit the void, fragments scattering, but for every raider they hit, 3 more appeared. It was hopeless. Then something changed. The false SOS, the looping human distress call, suddenly stopped. In its place came a new transmission, low and steady, filled with steel. "This is Earth Command. We received your signal. Stand by." The bridge fell silent. The crew turned to the captain, eyes wide with shock. "Earth Command?" the navigator whispered. "But they do not answer signals. They never come." The captain's fur bristled. He had heard the legends, the stories told in quiet voices across the galaxy. When humanity moved, they moved with fire and steel. And if someone had dared use their name, dared to forge a human distress call, then the humans would come with fury. The arrival. Moments later, the void trembled. From hyperspace ripped a formation of human warships, not 1 or 2, but an entire squadron. Their hulls were black, angular, and bristling with weapons. No banners, no warnings, just the cold, efficient presence of predators among stars. The lead ship broadcast across all frequencies. "This is the Terran Navy. You have attacked under a false flag. You have spilled blood in our name. Surrender immediately, or burn." Every raider ship hesitated. For all their greed, for all their cruelty, Even they had heard the old tales. The captain of the Ardent Dawn gripped the armrests of his chair as the human ships moved into position, their guns aligning with impossible precision. For the first time in his life, he understood what it meant when people whispered about humans not as merchants or explorers, but as warriors of terrifying resolve. And in that moment, the trap that had been set for others became the execution ground of those who had built it. The false SOS had awakened the one power no raider in the galaxy should ever provoke. Earth had answered. Earth's wrath unleashed. The raider ships hesitated, their weapons still glowing hot from the ambush. They had expected frightened merchants, helpless travelers, and easy prey. Instead, they found themselves staring down the black silhouettes of Terran warships. The humans did not wait. The lead battleship fired first. A single lance of light ripped across the void, cutting through the nearest raider like paper. In an instant, the pirate vessel split apart, spilling flame and debris. The shockwave rattled even the Ardent Dawn, though it was far from the line of fire. The Terran voice came again over open channels, cold and merciless. "Final warning. Surrender your vessels. Any resistance will be answered with force." The raiders broke into chaos. Some shouted for retreat. Others opened fire in blind desperation. Thus, air captains barked conflicting orders, pride warring with fear. But against the humans, their choice did not matter. The human fleet moved like predators who had hunted 1,000 times before. Not a wasted shot, not a second of hesitation. Every cannon found its mark. Raider ships that tried to flee were pinned by precision strikes that tore engines apart. Those that dared to fire back were erased in seconds, their hulls turned into glowing wreckage. On the Ardent Dawn's bridge, silence reigned. The crew could only watch as the humans reshaped the battlefield with brutal, efficient violence. The impossible precision. "Captain," the navigator whispered, eyes wide. "They don't miss. Not once. Every shot. It lands exactly where it must." The captain nodded slowly, his claws gripping the armrests. "This is not war. This is judgment." One raider frigate attempted to ram a human destroyer, its engines burning at full thrust. The humans didn't flinch. They fired a spread of missiles, not at the ship itself, but at the space ahead of it. The explosions formed a wall of plasma that shredded the raider before it could even close the distance. Another raider switched off its weapons and tried broadcasting a surrender signal, but the humans did not respond. They scanned, detected hidden charges in its cargo hold, and vaporized the ship without hesitation. There was no mercy for deceit. The fear of legends. Among the pirates, panic spread like wildfire. Old stories rushed back into their minds. They remembered the warnings told in smoke-filled dens. Do not use the name of Earth lightly. Do not wear the mask of humanity's cry for help. For if they come, they will come not with questions, but with fire. Now those stories lived in front of their eyes. The raider fleet began to collapse. Ships turned to run, scattering in every direction. The humans allowed it, for a moment, and then their cruisers jumped forward with impossible speed, cutting off escape routes. One by one, the fleeing vessels were cornered and destroyed. From the safety of distance, the Ardent Dawn's crew watched as the void lit up with firestorms. The humans did not need numbers. Their warships alone were enough to end the threat. The navigator swallowed hard. If this is what they do to pirates, what would they do to an empire that wronged them? The captain gave no answer. He only stared at the black Terran flagship, silent and deadly. The messenger. At last the guns grew silent. The battlefield was nothing but drifting metal and expanding clouds of ash. Out of dozens of raider vessels, none survived. The humans turned their attention to the Ardent Dawn. Every sensor on board screamed as the Terran flagship scanned them. Energy fields swept over their hull, dissecting every circuit, every breath of life. The crew froze, feeling as though invisible eyes had stripped them bare. Then the Terran voice returned, no longer cold, but sharp, demanding. "Identify yourselves. You are not our enemy. State why you came to this system." The captain rose from his chair, his voice trembling though he fought to hide it. We answered the distress call. We thought humans were in danger. We did not know it was false. A pause followed. Then the voice came again, quieter, but heavy with meaning. You saw the trap. You witnessed what was done in our name. You will carry this message back to the galaxy. Earth does not forgive false cries. To wear the mask of humanity's voice is to invite destruction. The crew of the Ardent Dawn bowed their heads. They had no choice but to obey. A final lesson. As quickly as they had arrived, the Terran fleet prepared to depart. Their ships aligned, hyperspace drives charging. But before they vanished, the flagship fired one last volley, not at an enemy, but into the emptiness of space. The blast tore open a nearby asteroid, revealing a hidden base the raiders had constructed. The destruction was absolute. The humans had known, they had seen everything, nothing escaped their eyes. The voice gave its final command. Remember this day, let all remember. Humanity does not cry for help lightly, and when our voice is stolen, we answer not with words, but with fire and steel. The fleet vanished into hyperspace, leaving only silence behind. On the Ardent Dawn, no one spoke for a long time. They had seen the truth of the old stories. The humans had not grown weak or quiet. They had simply been waiting, watching. And now the galaxy would know, never again should anyone dare forge a human SOS. The whisper becomes a storm. The Ardent Dawn traveled back through the void in silence. The crew hardly spoke. Each face was pale, each hand restless. They had survived, but they had seen something few dared to imagine. When they docked at the trade hub of Vera Station, the captain called his officers together. "We must report," he said, "not to merchants, not to smugglers, to the council itself. The galaxy must know what happened." But the truth was heavier than any cargo, the first telling. The Vera authorities listened with disbelief. Raiders destroyed, a fleet of humans arriving without warning, their firepower beyond imagination. Such things belonged in legends, not in a modern report. Yet the evidence was undeniable. The Ardent Dawn had recordings, they had the signals, the transmission from Earth Command, and the sensor logs of Terran weapons tearing ships apart with impossible precision. The officials fell silent as the recordings played. The image of the Black Terran flagship filled the chamber. Its voice repeated the words burned into the crew's memory. To wear the mask of humanity's voice is to invite destruction. The room shivered. None dared speak against the proof. The spread of fear, news traveled fast, faster than ships. Whispers spread. Through the trade lanes carried by merchants and smugglers, repeated in hushed voices in every docking bay, "The humans have returned." They answered a false SOS with fire. They destroyed an entire fleet in minutes. In the outer colonies, raider clans trembled. They knew the story was true, for their own brothers had not returned from the trap. Families of pirates cursed the day their kin had used human names to bait prey. In the grand halls of empires, the whispers became debates. Admirals frowned over star maps. Chancellors and emperors leaned forward in worry. "If this story is true," one noble said, "then humanity is not silent. They are waiting, watching, and they still command power that rivals entire fleets." Another replied bitterly, "Perhaps we should strike now, while they remain hidden in their own sphere. If we wait, their fire may reach us all." But none could agree, because to strike at humanity meant to risk waking them further, and no empire wanted to be the first to test Earth's wrath. The council divided. The Galactic Council called an emergency session. Representatives of dozens of species filled the chamber, their voices clashing like storms. One delegate, his wings spread wide in fury, shouted, "They are too dangerous. If pirates fell so easily, what chance do we have if humans turn their guns upon us? We must prepare for war." Another, calmer, countered, "You saw the message. They did not come to conquer. They came because their name was stolen. They came to punish deceit, not to destroy the innocent." A third voice rose. "But what if tomorrow they claim another insult? What if they decide we spoke against them unfairly? Will they not bring fire again?" The chamber erupted with noise. Some called for alliances to stand against Earth, others demanded peace, fearing what war would unleash. And beneath all the shouting, one fact remained. The galaxy now knew Earth was not gone. Humanity's silence had ended. The crew's doubt. Meanwhile, the Ardent Dawn's crew found themselves unwanted heroes. Everywhere, too, Hay went. People asked questions, desperate to know what they had seen. The navigator, once so curious, now kept his eyes down. "I do not wish to speak of it any more," he told strangers. "The humans, they are not like us. They do not fight for glory or wealth. They fight because they must, and when they do, there is nothing left standing." The captain struggled as well. He had thought himself brave for answering the call. But now he wondered if his decision had doomed others. Because the story of humanity's return spread like fire, and empires with trembling hands were already gathering weapons. The Hidden Listener. Far away on the edge of Terran space, a listening post caught the whispers traveling across subspace. Human officers reviewed the intercepted messages. "Word is spreading faster than expected," one said quietly. "The galaxy debates what to do." The commander of the post nodded. "Let them debate. Fear is its own weapon. They needed reminding. Now they will not forget." He turned to the comms officer. "Send word back to Earth. The Council stirs. They fear us again, and fear is the first step to respect." The humans had not spoken publicly to the galaxy in decades, but now their silence was broken. The false SOS had not only lured raiders, it had awakened old wounds, old memories, and old warnings. And the storm was only beginning. Shadows and schemes. The false SOS had burned away silence. Across the galaxy, leaders could no longer pretend Earth was gone or forgotten. Fear now sat in every council chamber. In the grand palace of the Varkos Dominion, their High Regent slammed a fist against the arm of his throne. "We cannot allow humans to rise again. They once shook the stars with their wars. If they are not stopped now, they will rule us all." Advisors nodded nervously. The Regent's words echoed the fear of many. Already, reports of destroyed raider fleets had reached their borders. The Regent ordered new weapons built, fleets expanded, and spies sent toward human space. "We will test their strength," he growled, "and if we find weakness, we strike before it is too late." The quiet approach, but not all rulers thought the same. In the Republic of Elthera, Chancellor Myron studied the reports in silence. The human's message replayed again on the chamber walls. To wear the mask of humanity's voice is to invite destruction. Unlike others, Myron did not hear a threat to the galaxy. She heard a warning aimed only at liars, deceivers, and pirates. She turned to her council. "Do you not see? They could have destroyed the Ardent Dawn. They did not. They could have burned whole stations to ash. They did not. The humans are not seeking conquest. They are demanding respect." Her ministers argued. Some warned against trust. But Myron only leaned closer to her datapad, studying the human warships caught on sensor recordings. "We must send envoys," she whispered. "While others prepare war, we must prepare friendship. If Earth returns to the galactic stage, let them remember Elthera as the one who reached out a hand, not a sword." The merchant's fear. On the trade lanes, merchants and smugglers carried the story further. It twisted with every telling. Some said Earth had returned with thousands of warships. Others said their fleet had been only a handful but powerful enough to erase armies. Docking bays filled with nervous talk. Pirates abandoned routes near human space. Black markets whispered that carrying stolen human tech was now a death sentence. One merchant captain overheard in a tavern said with shaking hands, "You don't understand. I saw them. Their guns do not fire like ours. They cut through ship. It's like cloth. You think you can fight that? No. You run, you hide, or you kneel." The fear spread faster than truth. Earth's watchers, on Earth itself, deep within hidden command bunkers, the news reports were gathered, screens filled with debates, threats, and rumors. Admirals and generals listened in silence. One officer asked, "Should we send another message to calm them?" The Terran commander shook his head. No, let the galaxy talk. Fear will hold them back longer than words ever could. Another officer leaned forward. But they are building fleets. The Dominion is arming itself. The Council is divided. Eventually someone will test us. The commander's gaze was hard. Then they will learn the same lesson as the Raiders. Humanity does not fight often, but when we do, the stars remember. The Secret Alliance. Back on Vera Station, the captain of the Ardent Dawn received a quiet invitation. A messenger from Elthara approached him in the shadows of a docking bay. "The Chancellor wishes to speak with you," the messenger said softly. "She believes you carry something the galaxy needs. Truth. You saw the humans with your own eyes. You know they are not monsters. She asks that you share this truth with her council." The captain hesitated. He remembered the Terran fleet, the fire and steel, the voice that spoke like thunder. Could such a force truly be an ally? Or was it only a matter of time before even allies became ashes under their guns? Yet he also remembered the human words aimed only at the guilty, and he remembered how the humans had spared his ship. Perhaps there was hope. The spark of conflict, but in the Dominion, plans were already moving. Raiders had been crushed, but spies whispered of human patrols near their borders. The High Regent snarled at the reports. "They think they can scare us into silence? No, we will find their weakness. We will strike, and when we do, Earth will burn." Orders went out. Warships began to gather. Agents slipped into neutral systems, spreading lies that humans had already begun secret conquests. Fear turned into anger. Anger turned into calls for preemptive war. The galaxy stood on the edge of choice, alliance or destruction. And in the shadows, Earth listened. Fire and Steel, the High Regent of the Varkos Dominion, stood before his war council, pride burning in his eyes. The galaxy trembles at stories of humans. But stories are smoke. We will cut through the smoke and prove the truth. Humanity is only flesh. Their ships bleed metal like ours. And we will be the ones to show it. His admirals bowed, though unease lingered in their faces. Orders were given. Fleets prepared. Their target was not Earth itself. It was a Terran listening post hidden near the border. A quiet outpost, small compared to Earth's rumored armadas. "If they are as strong as the tales say," the Regent growled, "then this will draw them out. If not, we will destroy their myth with fire." The Dominion strike. The Dominion fleet struck without warning. Hundreds of ships poured from hyperspace, surrounding the lonely human outpost. Weapons flared, missiles streaked, and the small Terran base burned beneath their fire. The Dominion cheered. The first human station in centuries had fallen. They broadcast the victory across channels, declaring humanity weak, declaring the old fear broken. But even as their ships celebrated, alarms rang, sensors screamed, space itself trembled. The humans had heard. The Terran answer. From hyperspace they came. Not one fleet, but 3. Warships larger than the Dominion had ever seen, black hulls gleaming with silent menace, lines of battleships, cruisers, carriers, all moving with precision that spoke of endless drills, endless readiness. The lead flagship transmitted one signal, short and merciless. "You have. He struck at Earth. You will know the price." The battle that followed was not a battle. It was an execution. Terran warships advanced like a wall of fire. Dominion cruisers tried to stand. They were erased in volleys of plasma and railfire. Frigates turned to flee. They were cut down before their engines could spool. Even the Dominion's dreadnought, a giant vessel bristling with weapons, lasted only minutes before Terran guns tore it open from bow to stern. The humans did not fight like others. They wasted nothing. Every shot struck true. Every maneuver crushed resistance. It was as if they had studied this enemy long before the battle began. The galaxy watches. The Dominion's attack had been loud, and so the response was louder. Across the galaxy, stations and ships caught fragments of the fight. The recording spread faster than light, broadcast into council chambers, merchant halls, and pirate dens. Everyone saw the truth with their own eyes. The Dominion's proud fleet, burning in pieces, the Terran warships advancing like a storm. The message repeated over all channels: Earth does not forgive. Earth does not forget. You wore our name in falsehood. You struck at us in arrogance. Now the galaxy will remember why humanity is feared. On Varus Station, the Ardent Dawn's crew watched in silence. The captain whispered, "This is no legend. This is no myth. This is what they are." The aftermath. When the battle was done, nothing remained of the Dominion fleet. Wreckage drifted in silence, scattered like ashes on the wind. The Terran flagship transmitted one last message, not to the Dominion alone, but to every corner of the galaxy. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek empires. We seek only truth. If you call for help, we will answer. If you steal our voice, we will answer. And if you strike at us, we will answer. Always, with fire and steel. Then, just as suddenly as they had come, the human fleet vanished back into hyperspace, leaving silence and fear behind. The final realization. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy changed. The Dominion, once arrogant, was broken. Their surviving leaders bowed low, begging for peace, their power shattered. Other empires trembled, rushing to send envoys of friendship to Earth. Even pirates whispered new warnings. Do not touch human space. Do not use human names. For Earth listens and Earth answers. In the Galactic Council, debates ended. The voices calling for war fell silent. Only one truth remained. Humanity was awake again. And the captain of the Ardent Dawn, who had once thought himself brave for answering a signal, now carried a burden heavier than any treasure. For he had seen the return of humanity. He had seen fire fall from the stars, and he knew the galaxy would never be the same. The legacy of the false SOS. The false human SOS had been meant as bait, a trick by raiders and fools, but instead, it became the spark that changed everything. It reminded the galaxy of a truth they had tried to forget. Humanity was not weak. Humanity was not silent. Humanity was fire and steel.